to Economia Festival, a festival about the economy without the economists on stage. Economia is a lab for ideas. It's a place where we can step out of our existing frames of thinking. With Economia, we approach the economy in a playful and fundamental way. Economia is organized by Bolton Laboratories, a place for artistic research and development that combines people, ideas, and organizations. So why Economia? We think the current economic model is broken. The pandemic emphasized this in many ways. Our economy is exhausting our planet and has no answers to climate change or social inequality. Economic growth comes at the expense of all living species. This is why, with Economia, we invite everyone to collectively explore new ideas together. Meredith Degyansky is interested in organizing other ways of being that pull us away from the exploitative and extractive practices of colonialism and capitalist modernity. For Economia, she is guiding us through our tensions, our memories, sensations, and feelings to get to the underbelly of where all of these embodied ways of being, thinking, and doing come from.
For this practice, go to a spot wherever you are, a spot that is free from artificial light no matter the time of day, and where you can be relatively free from distractions. There's no need to be in a completely quiet environment, as the lived environment around us is part of the musical composition that makes up our daily lives. And now find yourself in a comfortable position, which could be standing, seated, or lying down. This practice pulls from the work of generative somatics, a practice-based theory of change that believes that the embodied transformation of the self leads to the embodied transformation of the collective, which leads to systemic transformation. By embodied transformation, they are referring to the ways historical forces work through us that make us feel, be, and act in certain ways, and how we might become aware of those forces and redirect their energy. It also pulls from the deep listening practices put forth by the late composer Pauline Oliveros, who reminds us that listening is different than hearing, where hearing is hearing sounds that are measurable, acoustic, and physical. And listening is not only listening to the sounds, but also listening to what is non-measurable, subjective, and psychological. Deep listening is a lifetime practice of listening to your lived experience and all of the sounds, past, present, and future, that make up your life. Now that you are in your position, close your eyes and locate the center of your body, which is said to be the pit just a couple of inches below your belly button. Put your hand there. And then think of the rest of your body extending out from that pit, from that center. No matter if you are standing, seated, or lying down, think of your spine stretching out long from your center, and your legs and feet stretching the opposite direction. Lengthening out, allowing for an opening inside of your chest and internal organs. Allowing your breath to move more freely throughout your body. Think of the ways in which gravity is connecting your whole body to the earth in some way, providing you stability in your length. As you go about this practice, remember that while it may remind you of the instability and precarity that settles itself inside of you and all of us, you always have this center to come home to. This center is what keeps you grounded and connected to the center of the Earth's core. There's a direct line pulling you toward each other. So anytime you feel sensations, feelings, or emotions settling in your body and pulling you away from the center of the Earth's core, bring yourself back to this home. By returning to your home in the center of your body, you are connected to the core of the earth. You are unsettling and releasing those sensations that are attempting to make you feel unstable. Today we are going to focus on the evocative question posed by the Public Feelings Project, the question, how does capitalism feel? Where we explore within our own bodies the affective qualities of capitalism. How capitalism not only structures how we get and exchange our material needs and wants, but also how it structures what we feel, our emotions and sensations inside of our bodies, thus keeping us attached to and beholden to capitalism and all of its practices. This practice was developed with the understanding that capitalism does not stand alone and is not at all new, that it's a system deeply tied to settler colonialism, an ongoing process that steals land and resources from others, both human and non-human, killing us off or making us assimilate into the larger project of whiteness. Many of us have been assimilated into this project from birth, and so it's hard to notice how it lives inside of us, attaching our desires, motivations, and feelings to it, thus keeping us locked into capitalism, settler colonialism, and the project of whiteness, forcing us to reproduce those very structures we are trapped inside of without us even noticing it. Miranda Joseph states that many of us go through life trying to be good enough capitalist subjects, where we fail, try again, fail again, pick something else up, try it again, give up, and so on. I'm wondering if today each of us can notice how our feelings, tensions, affects, sensations, and desires are attached to these attempts at being good enough capitalist subjects, or good enough subjects in the project of whiteness and settler colonialism, and how we might release ourselves from those pressures and desires, where we no longer feel the need to be good enough, and thus allow us to find openings and pathways for other ways of organizing ourselves. In order to do this, we are going to start tracing through our bodies. Take a couple of moments here to just fall into your breath, listening to the in-breath and the out-breath, and relaxing into your body. Remembering your center and its connection to the Earth's core. If at any time today you feel too unsettled or something comes up for you, just return to this home base. This is the process of unsettling the ways capitalism lives in our bodies. Begin by bringing your attention down to your feet. How do your feet feel? Are there any sensations permeating through your feet right now? Are they tired? Are they standing a lot, walking a lot, or not enough? Are they suffocating, trapped, stuffed inside those shoes you bought online, arrived with your free trial of Amazon Prime in just 2 days? Day in and day out, your feet are tied tight inside of rubber soles. They want so badly to be directly on the ground, in the grass, on the sand, on the rocks, in the soil. They do. But perhaps all your feet can feel is that late night shift, last one there, standing at the counter, lining up the ketchup bottles, pouring the most empty bottle into the least empty bottle. Shake, 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 shake. Ketchup drips down the side. Your hands will smell like it for the rest of the night and even into the next day. Shake, shake. Almost done. You think about how your manager called you a bitch earlier that day because his feet are also aching, suffocating, and trapped. His feet also so badly want to be directly on the ground, in the grass, on the sand, on the rocks, in the soil. Maybe you both feel so alone, alienated from one another, from the customers, from the ketchup. Something feels off, not quite right. Like maybe rather than making a living marrying ketchup and ordering cases of wine, you could be suckering and tying tomatoes, slicing into a thick heirloom right now. Where your living is about growing the stuff you need to live, cutting out the middleman. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Now move on up to your knees. What are your knees telling you? Are your knees weak, trembling, hurting when you walk down the stairs? Is this from pivoting this way and that way, left and right, back and forth, like a basketball player in your own living room, workplace, grocery store life, rush, rush? You are always scrambling around to do this thing and that thing, pick that up, call them, look at phones, send that email, do this, do that, buy this, buy that, throw it out, get more, leave it, exercise, eat something, poop, sleep, pee, go, stay on the clock, tick-tock, tick-tock. You feel a sense of urgency all the time. Like if you don't get there and do the thing fast, then you will fail. You can't quite pinpoint where and when you started to behave like this, nor can you make actual sense of it when you slow down and ask why you're going this way and that way, rush, super speed. As a child, you would steal your mom's blankets and build forts deep in the woods and leave them up for seasons. There was no scrambling, just wading through creeks and drifting through yards until it got too dark or too cold to do it anymore. Elizabeth Freeman calls this chrononormativity, which is the use of time to organize bodies into maximum productivity, where time starts to feel like somatic facts, like time lives in our bodies. This is why it is hard to pinpoint when you move from not feeling time as a child to feeling time as an adult. You are rushing to some idea of a future that you think will be better than where you are right now, but it will actually never come. A future where we have vampiric mastery over each hour of each day, including sleep. Let your knees give a little. Relax them. Now drift your attention to your hips. What are you noticing here? Do you feel guilty, fat, wide, loose? Maybe you are thinking of that donut you ate last night over the steering wheel while you were supposed to be finishing stuff. Perhaps you feel bad because the donut has kind of made you feel sick. Or perhaps you feel bad because society is telling you to feel bad for giving in to your desires. Do you want the donut or don't you? You like it, you don't like it. Are you addicted to sugar like everyone else, or are you obsessively avoiding it because Self Magazine has told you it's bad? Is it bad, or isn't it bad? You remember shoving the last part of it in your mouth. It tasted delicious, it felt good, and then it felt bad. The donut has made you realize that you too are a subject in our slow death, our collective exhaustion and wearing out from daily life under capitalism. You want to do things right, but you do things wrong. Should you finish that thing or finish the donut? Can you do both right or will you do both wrong? Will you fuck it up and be fat and have diabetes and die and never succeed? Why do you care? Who cares if you finish that report or had typos or eat a donut or get fat or even get sick? You don't know why you care, but you want to care. You want to be perfect. What does it mean to be perfect? Whose son are we starting from in order to decide what is perfect or not? Are there people feeling like this too? You wonder, who made this donut? How did they get the stuff to make it and who made the stuff it's made of, like the flour and stuff? Who is farming the wheat for your donut? Who's picking the sugar? Is sugar even picked? How does sugar become sugar? You wonder if the people who made the flour and the sugar for the people who made your donut are doing okay. Are they paid enough? Tired? Lonely? You wonder what they worry about and you are still worried that the donut might make you fat. You feel guilty for feeling that feeling. Loosen up those hips. Now, if you will, bring your attention to your belly, your anxious, queasy belly. Perhaps your belly is reminding you of a moment a long time ago when you were 10 years old and you got 2 shots in a row and passed out in the hallway of the doctor's office, only to wake up to several grown-ups in white coats hovering over you with concern. Now perhaps the queasiness in your belly revisits you any time you set foot in a hospital, the long hallways, the sterile smell, the metal instruments, the lack of fresh air, the climate control. Perhaps this feeling of queasiness, even dizziness, starts to hit you in all sorts of institutional spaces, hospitals, schools, prisons. You think back to a time when you visited a prison for an article you were writing. You walked down the long hallway noting that everyone you said hello to would be in there for the rest of their lives for making mistakes when they were 19 or being accused of doing so. Years later, you look at the letter Reggie wrote you from the inside and remember that you never wrote him back. Too busy to respond, other things got in the way. You think about how these institutions are supposed to be spaces of care, but end up being spaces of control. Spaces to control the climate of what is going on outside of them. A vaccine prevents the spread of disease so we can go outside again. At school, we learn order, how to be those good enough capitalist subjects, working hard and winning, getting ready for the outside, for the real world. The real world that locks black bodies in cages, where black bodies are seen as a subsector of humanity, where black feeling is unthinkable, where the only way black bodies are to be controlled is by not being let out. You think about what it means to walk around outside where the overall climate is the climate of whiteness, where grown-ups in white coats hover over us with concern. But what are they concerned about? Are they concerned the climate is going to get out of control if they don't control it? Is their concern a fear of being out of control? Instead of taking care of the climate, are they taking control of the climate, locking up, killing, or forcing us to assimilate to their concerns? Soften your belly. And what about your shoulders? Perhaps you sense a holding in your shoulders, as most of us do, a tensing, maybe a nervousness. Perhaps your shoulders are reminding you of that time you were an unpaid intern at that art nonprofit in Manhattan who commissioned projects committed to social justice. The white walls, the Mac computers all around, the clusters of people getting paid for their work laughing with one another in clothes that fit them perfectly. You look around at everyone. A bright green chunky necklace over there. Wide-leg, high-waisted pants that sit perfectly at the ankles over there. An asymmetrical haircut that falls around taut cheekbones over there. You look down at your own body. A mustard cardigan that has been thrown in the dryer for years when told not to be in the dryer. It's missing 3 buttons by now and all shrunk up. Your little sister's Forever 21 jeans won't stay over your hips because the elastic in the waistline is all worn out. You don't know how to buy the right stuff. You just take the hand-me-downs, the trash, the misfits, what's no longer cool. Some mornings you frantically Google trends of 2016 or whatever the current year is to see if you already have something that will allow you to blend in so that tomorrow you don't look poor or like a person who isn't actually artsy. God, to look poor, wouldn't that be awful? You scarf down your egg salad sandwich that you brought from home, hoping to finish it before everyone else comes back with their kale salads from Sweet Green, the eco-chic salad chain near Astor Place. You hunch your shoulders up to your neck and hover over your laptop as they trickle back in and do the same. You wonder how you all got to this place where the meaning made out of your day-to-day life is about wearing a nice outfit, ordering a kale salad from a corporate chain, and hovering over a laptop that is watching you from some basement somewhere, feeding you ads for your next pair of shoes. You wonder how this became the trajectory of reality that you are on. Is this your path? What Sarah Ahmed calls your happiness script? The script we are to follow to feel happy? The ways our bodies align with what is already lined up? Work at that place, wear this thing, eat this, click on that, sit like that, use that font, marry that man, have those babies, buy that house, 2 cars, great, happy hours, friends, vacations. Are you happy with this script? Is it a reality? Do scripts create reality? Let your shoulders fall down your back. Now move on up to your jaw. Why are you grinding your teeth at night? You must be worrying about something. Worried sick or worried sleepless. They say you need 7 to 8 hours. If you don't get that, you may get sick. That vampiric mastery again. They say you should buy the $400 mouthguard to wear at night so you don't ruin your teeth with the grinding. You wonder if you should buy the mouthguard to stop the grinding or get on Lexapro to stop the worry. You wonder if those are your only 2 options. You wonder if there's another way to stop the worry, to sleep better. You visualize yourself sleeping better somewhere at some time that is not now. Perhaps the last time you slept without the worry was when you were a little baby, lying in your crib, listening to the sounds of a lawnmower outside, the smells of freshly cut grass coming in through the window. Or perhaps it was when you were staying in that cabin on the side of a mountain, woken to the birds calling, the smell of fresh dew on the trees. What do you think of when you think of having restful sleep? Where are you? Who is there? Do you have anything you have to do the next day? Pressure coming from somewhere? Deadlines? Judgment? Critique? Or does it look like something else? Take a moment to visualize yourself sleeping restfully. What was it like? How did you sleep? You have probably created a scenario in your head where you have nothing at all to do the next day, or at least nothing that is causing you worry. Does nature have something to do with your perfect sleep, that thing, nature, that we have bottled into jars and poured into candles to sell for the smell? That thing we have recorded the sounds of, trickling brooks, pouring rain, and chirping birds to fall asleep to? Do you have a boss that calls you a bitch still? A dress code? Standards? Are bodies locked in cages? Are there unpaid interns? Do you marry ketchup bottles? Are your feet trapped in rubber? Or was it something else? Was there another reality that allowed you to sleep restfully? Now, following your own breath and sensations in your body, reimagine the structures that live inside of you. What would your body feel like if capitalism and settler colonialism did not live inside of it, telling us what we want, who we like, how to act, what we know, or what we even think is real? And perhaps more importantly, what structures and ways of being can we create that will further the feelings we want to feel in our bodies each day? Those structures that will replace capitalist feelings with feelings that feel like something else. Whenever you are ready, open your eyes and come back into your space. You have just begun your own transformative practice.